Hello dear students! Welcome to our class orientation for the first semester of academic year 2021-2022. Of course, our subject is PCK5 or also known as Facilitating Learner-Centered Teaching. But before anything else, let me welcome you all second year students! Palakpakan po na to itong kaugalingon. And now, I know that some of you are quite curious kinsa katong instructors of PCK5, of course. And now, I think this is the right time that I'll be introducing myself. By the way, I am Mark John M. Martinez. Again, Mark John M. Martinez. You can call me Sir Mark. And you know what? I graduated my undergrad, of course, in ASCAT with a degree in Bachelor of Elementary Education. And recently, I earned my master's degree in elementary education also para na alignment. So again, you can just call me Sir Mark. And here comes the question, what is PCK5? So PCK5 explores the fundamental principles, processes, and practices anchored on learner-centeredness and other educational psychologies as these apply to facilitate various teaching learning delivery modes to enhance learning. And what to expect in this subject? So you will be expecting these topics. Of course, we will not just only discuss the what do we call this one, the foundations, but also we will also discuss the learner-centered psychological principles, and you will know how to apply each principle. And aside from that one, you will also know how to manage your classroom. And of course, aside from managing your class, you need to also know the nature of the learner and their respective differences. Like for example, we cannot deny the fact that our students, or we have this, what do we call this one, diverse students, because they have different culture, family background, learning styles, and even multiple intelligences. And lastly, you will know the different learning perspectives in learner-centered classrooms. And for the grading system, so I know that you already know our you are already acquainted with our grading system, but let me reiterate it with you. So for your outputs that comprise 60%, so it is subdivided with performance tasks and projects. So performance task 40, and for your project that would be 20, and for your term exams that comprise 40% with a total of 100%. So always remember that you have a separate grade in midterm and final. So for your final grade, so we will get 40% from your midterm grade and 60% from your final term grade. So for your requirements in our subjects, of course, lecture and activity book. So I guess you already prepared your drawing book or sketch pad for this subject. So please wait for my instruction regarding with the sequence of the content. And number two is the brochure. So we will do this one right after our midterm exam. And for the final project, that would be TBA, or to be arranged or to be announced. And now for the FQA in our subject, or the frequently asked questions. So you know what, these are the common questions that I encountered based from your submitted activity 1. So first, what is the importance of studying PCK5? So PCK5, facilitating learner-centered teaching. Of course, right now in the 21st century, we need to give center, or we need to give the chance to the students to discover his or her own learning. That is why it is essential for us teachers to know how are we going to facilitate that one. Because our role right now is what? Facilitator. We are not the mere, what do we call this one? Provider of knowledge. We will just facilitate that innate learning from your students. And number two, are you strict when it comes to deadlines? So honestly speaking, I am not strict when it comes to deadlines, but I do have my own rubric as well as set of criteria that you need to follow. For example, the criterion on timeliness. So therefore, if you want to submit beyond the deadline, so therefore you will get a lesser points, of course. So do we have a virtual class in this subject? Yes, we will have a virtual class right after each unit. So we have 5 units, so expect that we will have 5 virtual class. So in our virtual class, we will have this, what do we call this one, clarification of concepts, and aside from that one, giving of feedbacks or feedback rather. So what is the best learning modality? So if you would like to ask me as a teacher what would be the best learning modality right now, of course my answer is online, because online you get exposed with different online platforms wherein you could use that one in the future. And do we have a specific schedule in this subject? Honestly, we have a specific schedule, but I won't be following that one because we are in a flexible teaching learning approach. So you have the flexibility as to when you are going to do that particular subject. But of course, I will set schedules a week before we will have the virtual class. And for the FQA, or frequently asked questions, of course, to your instructor. So let's have the first question. So why did you choose to become an educator? So aside from the influence of my parents to me that I need to pursue education, is of course that innate passion, because there is a different feeling that you could be able, aside from sharing or imparting your knowledge with your students or with your pupils, you could also be an inspiration to them, right? And number two, are you a graduate of ASCAT? Yes, I am a proud alumna of ASCAT. So I graduated last March 2018. And number three, so this question, I guess there were at least three students who asked these questions. So, are you one of the ASCAT top notchers? And my answer is yes. I am one of the ASCAT top notchers last September 2018 in licensure examination for teachers. And I ranked 10. And you know what? It was really an amazing experience, because imagine you could be able to be one of the top students who excel in the board exams versus thousands of takers that time. So it was really a fulfilling moment. So can you describe yourself as a teacher? So if I were to describe myself as a teacher, I guess the suitable word would be cool. COOL. I am a cool teacher in the sense that aside from being young, is I could go with my students, bond with them, because I believe that learning really takes place if both the teacher as well as the students has the, or have this, what do we call this one, good relationship with each other. And aside from that one, is I believe that there is meaningful learning if the teacher as well as the students had fun while learning. And of course, how old are you? I am 23. So let me read you some impressions about myself. So of course, these were based on your submitted activity 1. So first impression. So my impression towards Sir Mark is, at first I really thought that he is very strict, the terror one. But all of my thoughts vanished when he let us saw his jolly and happy side of him. So honestly speaking, I am not that strict, but to tell you, I am not terror. Maybe I am a little bit strict, but I am not a terror teacher. And you, because you know what, I believe that what is the purpose of being terror? It is para mahadlong ang estudyante sa imuha. Then if that is your reason, therefore dapat wala ka nag-teacher, di ba? Because being a teacher, you need to know, or you need to be approachable with your students. You need to know how to communicate with them. Because you know what, as a teacher, as I said, it is really fulfilling if you served as an inspiration to your students. So next impression. So so he honestly, my impression about Sir Mark is a strict professor. Again, I am not strict. That, but the time passed by, I knew that Sir Mark was such a good and friendly kind of man. I cannot tell you that I am good, but you may ask my previous students if I am good to them. But all I can say is I am a cool teacher and I will do my best for you to learn in our subject. Okay. So my first impression with our instructor PCK5 Sir Mar is that he's very passionate teacher. The way he teach his students, he will do all his efforts. This impression is quite true because I am really fond of creating lecture videos even though it is time consuming, it needs a lot of effort, but you know what is the fulfilling part there is you could be able to let your students experience you or experience that, what do we call this one, lecture from their teacher, because whether you deny it or not, it is really different that you will just read the topic of the teacher than of course watching your teacher discuss the topic. So next, so since he was my teacher last semester. My impression when I first met this teacher through online, I feel nervous because I thought that he is very strict and thorough teacher. But it but of course I was wrong. He is totally kabaliktaran because sometimes he makes jokes. That is why we enjoy a lot while we are chatting in our GC last time. The real Mark John Martinez is really humble, good, understandable, and patient and lovable teacher I've ever met. He know how to manage us and give us enough time to do our tasks. He never wants us to stress ourselves, but instead he give more opportunity and time to do our different tasks in other subjects also. My expectations in this semester, I hope they will never change. Thank you, Sir Mark. God bless you always. Thank you so much. I am flattered with your impression with me. So, na-estudyante ko na daw ni siya. So, that's me. I am the kind of teacher who throws joke, and of course sometimes um, I just hope that you are not that sensitive when I throw jokes. So lingo-lingo ra gud ta. Okay. And next, I actually sent a friend request after Sir Mark was added to our group chat and was set as an admin. I actually admire him because he is the EIC of the Durian, which is this official student publication of ASCAT, and I was an EIC 2 of the Bridge, which is the official student publication of Santa Josefa. So of course, thank you so much for appreciating me as the EIC of the Durian, or the official student publication of ASCAT. So honestly, I am the former EIC because I became an EIC last 2017 to 2018. Okay. So next. So he is calm, nice, approachable, and organized. For me, Sir Martin Martinez will be one of our great teachers. So thank you so much for telling in advance that I will be your great instructor. So with that impression of yours, I will do my best to meet your expectation. Char. So next, when I first saw Sir Mark profile picture, I am amazed and I said, "Oh my." I am amazed with his face. He looks like not a teacher but an actor, and I think that he is a strict one. So really, do I look like an actor? So thank you so much. So maybe if I am not a teacher right now, I'll be an actor. Yes. Gusto mo appeal sa ang probinsyano. Okay, well anyways. So thank you so much with your impression sa mura di ko actor ani. So next, I think he is snobbish and strict, but I later realized that he is not. Okay. So well, actually, Sir Mark Jan Martinez is one of my friends on Facebook, and I saw him personally. I saw his Facebook content was full of positive vibes. Thank you so much, which I think reflects on his personality. I can say that Sir Mark is such a good, kind, and humble instructor simply because of the way he throws his bright smile, which makes me think that his life is full of positivity. Or shall I say optimism na lang. However, every one of us has a good and bad side. But in order for him to show his good side, I must show my respect to him as a student so that he will treat me the same way. Yes, because I believe that respect begets respect. If you will treat me nicely, I will treat you nice also. Yes. And next, I feel great and thankful that you are one of our instructor in this semester because the way you teach, giving advice and socializing with your students is so perfect. And I know that this semester is quite challenging, but it's okay because I know that I enjoy it as well as I will also learn. So you know what? As much as possible, I really want to make our class as fun as possible. Kanang ma-enjoy yun mo, kanang dili mo ma-stress, di ba? Because you know what? If you are stressed with our subject, so therefore there's something wrong with my approach with you, di ba? That is why, as much as possible, I will make this subject as fun because as what I said that for us to have a meaningful learning, we need to enjoy the teaching and learning process. And lastly, my first impression with my instructor is interesting and jamming. I think he is understandable instructor. Yeah, sometimes I do jam with my students, most especially when throwing jokes. Okay? So those are the impressions, of course, coming from you, my dear students. So let me give you some tips, most especially in this online learning. So first, you need to make schedules. So always set your, what do we call this one? Magbuhat og task 8 to 5 only, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. only. And you need to set schedule on that particular day what subject ang imong buhaton. On that particular day, unsa nga what do we call this one? Assessment task imong buhaton. Number two, you need to create checklist. Yes, it is important for you to create checklist, most especially if nasubmit na ba nimo tanan assessment task or na ba kay GC sa tanan. Okay? And aside from checklist, you need to also make to-do list for you to be guided on what will be the thing that you will do on that particular day. And next, number three, if you have questions, huwag mahihiyang magtanong. But please do back reading in our GC. Maybe I already answered your query. Next, be independent. Dili magsalig og answers sa classmates because you know what? The concepts that you will learn in our subject is very applicable in the future. So kung magsalig mo sa inyong classmates, so how will you apply those concepts kung nanundog ra kasi ang answer? Diba? And also reward yourself. You know what? This online way of learning is quite challenging, most especially with you students. That is why after doing or finishing an assessment task, you need to reward yourself. In what way you could be able to reward yourself? You could buy something for yourself, like for example, chocolate, milk tea, or bisan tagpison nga super crunch. That's okay na. Or you could also Shopee, okay, that is a form of rewarding yourself for you to get motivated to do the other task. Number 6, do your schoolwork from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. only. Always set the 6 p.m. to, what do we call this one? 7 a.m. as your me time or personal time with yourself for you to reflect, di ba? And of course, do your best while you are still in your first year. So I was not able to edit this one, but not really first year, early years of your college life. Because you know what? Always remember that what you did on college or in college will reflect on what will be or who will be you as a teacher in the future. Okay, that is why college pa lang daan, first year, second year, magtinarong na mo. Para third year, fourth year, pwede chill-chill na lang. So always remember this quotation from Benjamin Franklin, tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. But again, I am Mark John M. Martinez and I would like to thank you all for watching and listening on our class orientation in our subject PCK5. Again, you can just call me Sir Mark.